So last meeting we have discussed introduction to learning, to teaching and learning. Today in module 2 we will be discussing principles of teaching and learning and some of the basic learning theories and styles. Okay. So first we must study, or we must know that teaching is a process. As we had said last meeting, that it is a step-by-step process. So at the end of this presentation, students would be able to understand that teaching is a proactive and complex process. Okay? So teaching as a proactive or giving a process. So when we say proactive, it is more concerned on uh, giving giving knowledge. Okay? So hindi siya reactive na uh, kasi when we say reactive, it is more of the magtatanong si student and then uh, a-answer si teacher. So teaching per se is more of laging mauunang magbigay o mauunang mag-share ng information ang teacher sa student before the teacher can solicit information to be returned back or to echo back the information that the teacher shared to the students. Okay. So teaching, syempre, ang kanyang goal is to induce learning. Okay? Diba? Teaching is and learning comes hand in hand together. And syempre, pag may learning na nangyari, nagkakaroon ng behavioral change due to the information shared from the teacher to the learner. So this not this cannot happen just in a matter of luck or mere occurrence. So yung learning as well as teaching is a deliberate activity. That means it is voluntary. Hindi siya involuntary na tatanggapin na lang. Okay? So, kung ayaw matuto ng isang tao, hindi siya talaga matututo. Kasi nga it is a deliberate activity. Voluntary ang learning. Diba? If you are not let's say, if you do not want to be familiarized with a specific topic, kahit paulit-ulit ituro sa iyo, okay, pero hindi mo naman wala kang concern, wala kang tawag dito wala kang drive to learn anything about that topic or that subject, so definitely you will not learn anything. Kung may malaman ka man, after a while, makakalimutan mo rin agad. Okay. So, ang term na ginamit ko, malaman, hindi matutunan, di ba? So, it is different. Okay. So, viewed like a catalyst for its end, it tends to serve as an agent that can cause or speeds up desired actions on the part of the learner. So, yung teaching, okay, it is a catalyst. When we say a catalyst, it assist the growth. It is an agent to uh, increase or speed the development of a particular learner. Okay? So catalyst madalas natin naririnig yan sa mga experiments when it comes to chemistry. Okay? So, ang teaching daw, kung may natural ng desire ang isang tao na matuto with a particular subject, okay, teaching will speed up the process of learning. Diba? If you are interested in one topic, then you can easily understand it. So parang gumagawa ng uh, research. Okay? When you do research at hindi mo gusto talaga yung topic na binigay sa'yo or na-approve, ang hirap gumalaw. Ang hirap mag-move on dun sa next step. Diba? Lalo na pagdating sa related literature. Parang hirap na hirap kang maghanap ng related lit or mag-construct man lang ng iyong related lit. At the same time, kapag lumabas na yung result, parang ang hirap igawa ng analysis yung iyong findings, yung result ng iyong findings. Diba? So, that same goes with learning. So, teaching as involving more of the learner than of the teacher. Okay. So, itong ganitong type of teaching is medyo mahirap siyang gawin. Okay. Lalo na kapag ang subject mo ay talagang boring or kung hindi man is yung parang ang hirap mahalin. Diba? May mga subject kasi na ganun na kahit anong gawin mo, parang hirap na hirap kang ituro sa iyong mga estudyante. Pero, in the long run, kailangan kasi magkaroon ng participation yung students. Kaya kahit gaano kahirap kayo pilitin na mag-participate sa klase, kailangan natin gawin yan. Kasi it will aid your learning. It will aid your learning process, your capability to learn. Kung hindi ka magpa-participate sa klase, okay, magkakaroon ka ng kumbaga yung learning mo is parang hindi siya magiging kompleto. Diba? Especially when teachers are asking if you have questions. Diba? If you have questions in your mind, pero hindi nyo naman tinatanong or hindi nyo siya ma-verbalize, so paano pa maliliwanagan or ma-aid, mabibigyan ng tulong ng teacher in order for you to understand more kung ano man yung topic na naguguluhan ka. So another problem kasi is the culture, the education culture in our country. Kaya mahirap itong yung learners ay may active role in teaching. Kasi the culture in the education culture in our country, especially in basic education, ay more on spoon feeding, more on binibigay lahat ng information sa mga students kaya nahihirapan. At yun ay naging evident siya nung dumating yung pandemic. Paano ko nasabing naging evident siya? When the Department of Education issued the different modules for the different subjects in basic education, nahihirapan ang mga student na sagutin yung modules. May mga kapatid ba kayo na nagmo-module? May kapatid kayo nagmo-module? Have you uh, have you ever looked how the module look it was constructed? Tiningnan nyo ba? Kasi one time meron akong tinuturuan na grade grade 3. Grade 3 siya pero ang mga topic niya na ay parallel circuit, series circuit, module yun. And for a grade 3, shit, parang hindi ko to na-experience ng grade 3. Diba? Parang, hello, na-encounter ko lang to nung physics nung 4th year ako Pero grade 3, mga ganun, di ba? Kasi lumabas na during the pandemic, hindi na makapag-spoon feed. Di ba? Yung mga teachers, gumawa ng module sa akala nila na ka-level ng student nila. But in reality, the level that they are giving dun sa module nila ay more advanced. Kung sa tingin nila na ito ay karapat-dapat lang dun sa level ng student, they should have been teaching that even before pandemic. However, due to the education culture in our country, na I hate to say this, lalo na sa mga public schools, meron kasi ang public schools na culture na tinatawag na mass promotion. Mass promotion. Hindi ka pwedeng magbagsak sa public. Kasi pag nagbagsak ka, kung ikaw yung teacher na nagbagsak, ang dami mo kailangan paperworks na i-submit just to justify kung bakit mo siya binagsak. Parang kasalanan pa ng teacher kung bakit bumagsak yung estudyante. Alam mo yun? Ganon kahirap yung trabaho ng isang teacher sa public school na kailangan ino-notify mo yung magulang 3 times bago ka makapagbagsak ng isang estudyante. Hindi lang notification may home visitation pa yon. At kailangan well documented. So, ayun nga, ito lang sinasabi ko, mass promotion. Kahit walang masyadong natututunan ang bata, ipinapasa na lang ng teachers kesa ibagsak at to do those uncomfortable paperworks. I remember nung ako ay first year college as Radtech sa Kalayan, may classmate ako. At ewan ko kung naikwento na sa inyo ni Ma'am Delcy to. I think kung hindi 4, naka-5 ulit siya ng introduction to Radtech. Okay. So kasi si Ma'am Delcy during face-to-face classes, mahilig siya magpabasa sa photocopy ng book. Kasi hindi pa kami pinabibili ng book noon. So photocopy lahat. So isa-isa kami. alphabetical, pinapabasa ni Dean. Then ito isang classmate ko na to, katabi ko pa sa upuan. Nung time niya na siya magbabasa, nahihirapan siya. Ang dami niya excuses. Kesyo malabo mata niya, malabo yung photocopy niya. Ayun, so siguro nakailang discussion, nakailang daan sa kanya na puro excuses. Ayun, kinausap na ni Dean. Sabi niya, eto yung libro mismo, dito mo basahin. It turns out that my classmate was not proficient in reading. Isang buong sentence, nahirapan siyang basahin. At siya ay nakapag first year college, ibig sabihin graduate siya ng fourth year. So, I presume that that person is not only one in the whole Philippines. Maaring mas marami pa sila due to the policy. Actually, it is a non-written policy ng DepEd na yung mass promotion. And even dun sa dati kong nagturo na kasi ako ng elementary and high school before sa isang Catholic school. Okay, itong principal, madre. No, that time, kalalabas ko lang ng seminaryo. Okay, tapos, during a faculty meeting, eto si sister, sabi niya, kwento tungkol sa meeting ng mga principals, public school sa private school principals, meeting na inatenan niya. And then, bigla niyang binanggit na dapat daw, huwag kaming magbabagsak ng estudyante. Ang reason niya, kung sa public school nga daw na libre, walang binabayaran ng mga bata, hindi sila nagbabagsak ng estudyante. What more, sa isang school na may bayad. Sabi ko, para ang labo ng logic ni sister. So, di ba, parang ganito na ba ka-degraded ang education culture sa Pilipinas? Yung parang sa college ka na lang makaka-encounter ng nagbabagsak. Pero hindi, kasi nung high school ako, may mga klase akong bumabagsak. Filipino, mathematics, English. Yung dalawang kapatid ko bumagsak sa Filipino. Diba? Filipino 2 and Filipino 3. Nag-summer pa sila. Hindi ko mag-gets kung bakit ganon. So anyhow, so malaki ang kailangan pang i-improve ng ating education system. It's not merely complying to the standards of other countries. Kasi yung pag-implement ng K-12, it's just parang pag-comply lang sa kagustuhan ng ibang bansa para makuha ng Pilipinas yung nung panahon na yun, yung cash aid. Meron kasing aid galing sa ibang bansa na kapag hindi pinatupad ng Pilipinas ang K-12, hindi makukuha ng Philippines yung pera. So, ayun na nga. So, na-implement si K-12. So, may nabago ba? Sinasabi nila before, ang reason for K-12 is to para daw mapagaan yung mga subjects ng lower grades. At mabawasan yung subject sa college. Sabi. But as I see it now, parang hindi naman. Parang hindi naman nabawasan kasi andun pa rin yung mga dating subjects, nagdagdag pa ng ibang subject. Diba? Well, That's the wisdom of those educators na siyempre gusto nila na ma-pattern talaga tayo sa ibang bansa na sabi kasi nila, we are being left behind. Ilan na parang dalawat lang tayo sa countries na hindi tayo K-12 educational system. Okay? So dahil doon, so here we are. There you are pala. Kasi parada kayo ng K-12, di ba? So, based sa mga nakikita kong post sa social media, mahirap daw ang junior at senior high. Mahirap ba? Nahirapan kayo based on your experience. Pero sa college, okay na. Masaya lang ang senior high sa junior high. Hindi kasi, ang purpose kasi talaga ng senior high is transition. Transition siya from uh, grade school to to college. Kasi ang katumbas, 'di ba? Kung ibabalik natin sa old curriculum ng basic ed, ang katumbas ng junior high at senior high ay first year and second year college. 'Di ba? So, dapat mas prepared na kayo sa college education. So, how would you rate yourself? Are you prepared for college education after graduating senior high? Mas another thing pa kasi is para daw mas mature na mag-isip kung anong pipiliing course. Another reason daw. Saka syempre, ang isa pang pinaka-reason before is pagka-graduate nyo ng senior high, pwede na kayong magtrabaho. Pwede na kayong magtrabaho. So sa batch nyo ng senior high, ilan yung nagtatrabaho na ngayon sa yung alam ninyo nagtatrabaho? As in full-time worker. At ano yung kanilang mga trabaho? Meron ba? Kasi before pandemic, ilang milyon na ang walang trabaho. Kung hindi man walang trabaho, yung tinatawag natin na ano ba yun? Under something. Yung trabaho nila hindi match sa tinapos nilang course ng college. So, ayun. So going back, ideally, ayun, dapat magkaroon talaga ng active role ang learners sa kanilang education. Okay? And ewan ko, yung ibang kasing teacher, uh, mabilis bang mainis sa mga estudyante matanong? May mga ganong teacher eh. Mabilis mainis or kung hindi man, ang dating sa kanila nung pagtatanong ng estudyante is china-challenge yung authority ng teacher. Something ganon. Based on experience. Pero sa akin, okay lang. Magtanong kayo magtanong. Kahit hindi tayo naglalasi, magtanong kayo, okay lang. Hanggat kaya kong sagutin, sasagutin natin yung kung ano man yung tanong nyo. Okay? So yung iba sa inyo nag-me-message, nagtatanong, kahit tapos na yung klase or yung topic, or kahit naman hindi ko topic or hindi ko subject, okay lang. Wala tayong problema diyan as long na kaya kong sagutin. Siyempre sasabihin ko naman sa inyo kung hindi ko alam. Nobody's perfect. Okay? But anyone can improve, di ba? So teaching as a system of action and interaction between teacher and students. Okay. So kaya ang nilagay kong photo diyan ay online classes kasi ang hirap makipag-interaction sa inyo, no? Ang hirap. Ang hirap kumita ng pera sa inyo. Parang kailangan ko pang mag-stand up comedy dito para lang makapag-interact sa inyo. Anyhow, so interaction between teacher and students and students. Ang gulo. Ulit. Interaction between teacher and students and between students and students. Yun, is needed in classroom activities. So taking a communicative approach. Yan. Kaya ayun, sometimes I make it to a point na nagkakaroon kayo ng small group discussion in order for you to share your ideas with each other. Ayun, saka tinatanong ko kung ano yung napag-usapan niyo during your small group discussion because communication is the key. Diba? Madalas nyo sabihin sa mga post nyo, PM is the key. And private message is a type of communication. Okay? It will maintain communication to happen in a classroom kapag may interaction. Okay? And also, it will help the teaching and learning process run smoothly. Okay. So, doon makikita kung proper ba or natutupad ba yung action plan na nilayout ng teacher para sa teaching and learning process. Okay. So, yung ito, simula doon sa dalawa pang nakalipas na slide, these are some of the principles in teaching and learning. Okay. So another principle is teaching as basically an adjustive act on the part of teacher to promote the student's learning. So teacher lagi ang mag-a-adjust. Yan. Laging teacher ang mag-a-adjust. Sa lahat ng bagay sa pagdating sa teaching, teacher ang nag-a-adjust. Nag-a-adjust on how to simplify the theories, the subjects, or the topics or lessons. Okay? So, nag-a-adjust din siya kung natutunan ba ng estudyante, syempre. Kung hindi natutunan, so adjust uli sa kailangan bang ulitin, kailangan ba magkaroon ng special class or ng remedial class. So, yun, teacher ang mag-adjust. Okay? So, interaction between teacher and students, hindi ito yun. So, ayan, anyhow, so yun nga, bakit kailangan mag-adjust ang isang teacher when it comes to the teaching and learning process? Because dahil pa rin dun sa end goal. And what is the end goal? The learning of the students. Learning lagi ang end goal ng teaching. And learning will not happen if the student will not cooperate. And the only way that the student will cooperate if they understand the lesson. If they are interested in in the lesson. And then ito pa yung isa sa dapat natin maintindihan, that teaching is a complex process. Ang teaching, hindi lang siya basta ang teacher dada ng dada, lecture ng lecture. Meron siyang sinusunod na process. Diba? Na ina-assess niya muna kung ano yung knowledge nyo. Then, nagkakaroon ng planning. Then yung plan, ini-implement. Then after implementation, nagkakaroon ng evaluation. Then, uulit-uli yung cycle. Okay? Okay. So, ganyan yung teaching process. May plan, may implementation, may evaluation. Okay? And then may feedbacks and reflection. Siyempre yung feedbacks manggagaling sa students. And kaya nga sa atin, dito sa SEPI, every semester, nagkakaroon ng observation. Diba? Hindi ko alam kung isa kayo sa mga klase na may pumasok na ibang dean. Meron bang dean na nag-observe ng klase nyo? Last rotation? So kung meron, ang ginagawa nila ay sila ay nag-evaluate ng teacher. So, anong ginawa nyo nung may pumasok na na mag-observe? Kaninong subject? Kay Sir Clyde? Kay Sir Pau? Sino yung observer? Pinansin ba ni Sir Paulo? Pinansin ni Sir Pau? Binati ba ni Sir Paulo? Yung observer. Magalang si Sir Paulo, binabati niya yung observer. Kaya pala. Hindi ko kasi binati si Ma'am Amy. Diretso lang ako sa pagle-lecture. Basta in-accept ko lang siya. Ayun. Baba tuloy ng grade. And, ayan. Okay lang yon. So, teaching is an activity with 4 phases. So, nandyan nga yung curriculum planning phase, instructing phase, measuring phase, and evaluating phase. So, ito ay another variation ng assessment, planning, implementation, and evaluation. Yun nga lang, dito sa second bullet, wala siyang assessment. Diretso na agad siya sa curriculum planning phase. Then after that, implementation, yun na yung instructing phase. And then yung evaluation na hati sa dalawa. Yung measuring phase, which is the phase on which the teacher will give activities. Di ba yung sinabi ko nung last meeting, the formative and summative assessment. And then of course the evaluating phase. Yung evaluating phase will evaluate the whole plan, the implementation, and the instrument used in assessment. So yan. Okay. So, bakit nga ba mahalaga na malaman ng isang radtech itong mga bagay na to. Sir, hindi naman po kami magti-teacher. Hindi naman po kami magtuturo. Bakit po meron kaming ganitong subject? Siyempre, it is not necessarily true na hindi kayo magtuturo. Kasi darating yung time na kayo yung magiging senior radtech. Kayo yung magiging mga managers and administrators ng mga radiology department. Okay? Hindi naman forever kung sino yung managers at administrators ng mga radiology department na pinasukan nyo, forever na buhay yun, di ba? Magre-retire at magre-retire sila. At kayo yung papalit. At isa sa responsibility ng mga department head, yung tinatawag natin chief tech, ay ang turuan yung mga new sets of radtech, yung mga newly graduates, or kung hindi man newly graduates, mga junior radtechs. It is the responsibility of the senior radtechs. Hindi lang yun. Paano kung mapunta ka sa ospital na nag-entertain ng mga interns? Diba? So, paano ka ngayon magtuturo sa mga interns? Kasi halimbawa, sa isang affiliating hospital, may isang intern coordinator. Yung intern coordinator na yun, siya lang yung in charge sa mga intern. At siya yung magko-coordinate kung saan duty itong intern na to, kung gaano katagal, etc. However, pwede rin siyang mag-assign ng certain radtechs na magbibigay ng lectures on specific topics. Especially kung yung affiliating hospital na pupuntahan nyo ay kompleto ang modalities. Pag sinabi natin kompleto, may nuclear medicine, merong radiation therapy, MRI, CT scan, ultrasound, mammo, interventional radiology. So, kapag kompleto, usually, yung intern coordinator nag-a-assign kung sino magbibigay ng lecture about, let's say, MRI, or positioning, or radiation therapy. Yan. Siya yung nag-a-assign. At hindi lang basta lecture, may mga exams or quizzes din sa ospital. Kung akala nyo natapos na ang exams and quizzes kapag nag-intern kayo, hindi pa. Sa ospital, may quizzes na binibigay ang mga staff. Tapos, pagbabalik ka sa school for the seminar compendia, every week may exam pa rin. So yung exam hanggang matapos ang inyong internship meron. Okay? So part 2 na tayo ng ating module 2. And the part 2 of module 2 is learning theories and Robert Gagne's hierarchy of learning. So sa learning theories, we will be discussing only 3 types so far. Yung iba ay ating i-discuss sa mga susunod na lesson. Okay? So I already introduced to you one learning theories last meeting. And ano yung learning theory na yon? It is behaviorism. Diba? Behaviorism. And also, aside from that, pati yung kanilang mga ano ba tawag doon? Examples ay na-discuss ko na rin, such as the classical and operant conditioning and the social or observational learning. Okay. Meron akong nakita sa Facebook nga pala, kagabi lang, kahapon, or kung di kagabi, kahapon. Magandang example ng observational learning. So, hindi ko alam kung paano ko siya mai-share sa inyo. So, ginawa ko muna, pinost ko siya as my story. So, I will find a way on how to share it with you. Pero ang ganda kasi niya na example ng observational or social conditioning. So, basta. Matatawa kayo. Anyhow, so let us continue. Okay? So, ayun. May objectives ulit tayo. So, define and differentiate the different learning theories. List and discuss Robert Gagne's hierarchy of learning. Okay? Ayan. So, first one is behaviorism. Ayan. So this type of learning theory focuses on learning as expressed through behavior. So merong stimulus, okay, mati-trigger yung response. Okay? Emphasizes on repetition and reinforcement as means to achieve mastery. So example nga nito nung classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and observational or social conditioning. So, di ba? Yung image natin, will press lever for food. So, in-explain natin yan last meeting yung operant conditioning. Okay. So, next is Cognitivism. Okay. So, it focuses on the internal, to the learner's processing of information. And their ability to relate new information to pre-existing knowledge. Excuse. So dito sa cognitivism, ang pinairal dito, yung ating mind. Ang binibigyan ng focus yung ating mind. Compared sa behaviorism, which is the behavior. Kaya nga sabi dito, binibigyan ng emphasis yung learner's organization of information. Okay? So, organization of information. Ibig sabihin, meron ka ng prior information sa iyong mind. Nandyan yan, nakastore. And then, the instructor or the teacher will give you new information. And this new information you will be relating it to your pre-existing knowledge. Iko-connect mo siya dun sa natutunan mo na before. At ang magiging role lang ng teacher is a guide. So this is ideal for higher level of learning. Unlike yung behaviorism, siya ay most applicable sa mga beginners, sa mga learners na beginners. Diba? So, cognitivism, so minsan pinapractice natin yan without you knowing na cognitivism pala yun. Diba? Gamit na gamit kanina. Okay? So, critical analysis and problem solving. So, it is also based on the idea that people actively construct or make their own knowledge and that reality is determined by your experiences as learner. So yun nga, nire-relate nyo kung ano man yung inyong new knowledge sa inyong pre-existing knowledge. Sorry, I think this is ano na. Wait lang babaguhin ko lang. This is hindi siya cognitism. So yun, siya ay constructivism. Hindi siya ano nangyari? Yan. So this is different from the one before. This is constructivism. So based on your experiences, okay, you will be able to construct your own definition or knowledge. So in this type of learning style, ito ay active process, meaning habang ikaw ay nag-iisip, okay, continuous yung learning. Continuously nangyayari yung learning. Kasi you make learning or nangyayari yung learning dahil sa ito ay kino-connect mo dun sa experiences mo. Okay? And learning is a social activity. Bakit social activity? Kasi you relate kung ano man yung idea or concept na natutunan mo, nare-relate mo siya sa iyong social life, sa iyong experiences na nangyari sa iyong sa society around you. At the same time, kaya nga siya ay tinawag din na it is something contextual. May context. Diba contextual, ibig sabihin, naka-base siya sa kung ano man yung iyong experiences. Pag nag-relate ka ng knowledge, diba, ginagamit mo kung ano yung mga past experiences mo. Yan yung way ng mga teachers upang magbigay or ipaunawa sa students yung certain concepts sa pamamagitan ng paggamit ng life experiences. Pagbibigay ng example na nangyari sa buhay ng teacher, yun. Yan ay isang uri ng constructivism. Okay? And motivation is key to learning sa constructivism. Okay. So ito yung ating summary ng tatlong learning style. Okay? So behaviorism, cognitivism, and constructivism. So nandyan yung mga pagkakaiba nila. Okay? At kung saan sila pwedeng i-utilize yung type of learning. Okay? So behaviorism, yung focus niya ay nasa ano yung ginagawa ng learner, what the learner does, and proper response to a given stimulus, which is something observable. Okay. And then yung learner is reactive. Bakit reactive? Diba? Reactive kasi nagbigay ka ng stimulus, so yung learner magbibigay ng response. And that is reactive. Type of learning, basic definition as explanation and generalization or recall. Example, pre-test, comprehension checks, facilitate learnings through assessment that allows practice, repetition. Okay. Then, cognitivism, ang focus na naman ay processing of information. How the learner organize new information within a pre-existing schema. That is something internal, hindi siya observable. So the learner is proactive, type of learning, higher level reasoning and information processing, emphasis on memory or stock knowledge, then organization. Then examples, corrective feedback, learning strategy like analogy, metaphor, concept mapping, remove irrelevant information. Okay? So lahat itong mga examples na to, pwede mo itong gawin in your own. Yung removing irrelevant information, okay? So syempre meron kang pre-existing knowledge. So if there are irrelevant information, so you can remove that from your memory. Okay? So saan ba pinattern ng computer kung hindi sa tao, di ba? Kaya pwede natin i-program kung ano yung laman ng ating memory. Kaso ang tanong, anong capacity ng memory mo? Floppy disk ka ba? Alam mo yung floppy disk? Yung square na sinasaksak sa computer. Mga ilang bytes lang ang laman. Yung may alam ng floppy disk, magkakasing edad tayo. Okay? Tapos, after floppy disk, sumunod yung diskette. After diskette, CD na, tapos DVD. Bago pa yung flash drive. So anyhow, yun, depende sa memory. If you have short-term memory or long-term memory, na-access nyo ba yung mga memories nyo na yan? Do you have a way to access your long-term memories or short-term memories? Na-try nyo na i-access yan, yung mga memories nyo. Ano, nag-exam kayo, paano nyo nire-recall yung answer sa questions? Paano nyo nire-recall? Tumitingin sa notes, nagsasearch sa Google, sa gulo-gulo. Paano? Wow! Photographic memory. Parang ang elephant, may photographic memory. Pero ang karaniwan talagang ginagawa natin, di ba? Tingin sa kisame, tingin sa pader, pag face to face, tingin sa kabilang papel, di ba? Pag face to face nga daw, hindi mo naman daw kailangan madaling maging matalino. Ang kailangan mo lang maging matalinaw. Di ba? Yung tipong kahit nakaganto ka lang, kita mo na yung papel nung nasa kabilang upuan. Na hindi gumagalaw yung ulo mo. Matalinaw lang. Okay? So, yun. Moving to constructivism. So ito naman constructivism, ang focus na is how the learner interprets the new information and applies to their own reality. So, yung meaning niya ay constantly nag-evolve. Yung kanyang understanding ng isang concept ay patuloy na nagbabago based on the experience of the learner. Siyempre, yung experience, yan ay ever-changing. Hindi naman kung ano yung experience mo sa isang bagay is yun din yung magiging experience mo sa lahat ng bagay. So the learner here is proactive. The type of learning is, of course, higher level problem solving and critical analysis. Emphasis on real world scenario. Mai-uugnay mo na siya sa mga nangyayari sa society, sa paligid mo. Okay? So ano example nito? Nandito na yung apprenticeship o yung OJT na tinatawag or sa atin internship. Okay? So yan ay mga examples ng collaborative learning. Then encourage application of new knowledge in a variety of contexts and perspective. Okay, balikan natin pala yon. Okay, so kapag nag-internship kayo, 1 year yon, junior saka senior. Okay. And usually, ang mga interns, ang mga junior interns, very observant yan. Madalas nilang napapansin yung mga ginagawa ng tech sa ospital. At kapag kinukumusta sila ng mga intern coordinator ng school, halimbawa, pagbalik nila sa school, kukumustahin sila. Oh, kumusta yung duty nyo? Ganito, ganyan, ganyan. So, sasabihin nila, sir, bakit po ganon? Yung mga radtech po sa ospital, hindi sumusunod sa ganito, hindi nagpa-practice ng radiation protection, tapos yung pong angulation niya dun sa isang positioning, mali pa. So, ganun yung mga intern. Pag junior internship. So, ang sinasabi lang naman ng mga intern coordinator dyan ay ang importante kasi sa actual clinical practice na is mapalabas mo yung image na gusto ng doktor. At sabi ko nga, may kanya-kanyang technique ang mga radtech. And hindi man sa hindi natin kino-correct pero sinasabihan pa rin naman yung mga students, yung mga intern na kahit kung ano nakikita nila na hindi maganda sa tech, sa staff, ay wag nilang gagayahin. Wag nilang dadalhin pag sila na yung nagpa-practice, di ba? Kaya katulad ng pagiging manyak, hindi naman natin nadala yung pagiging manyak eh. Pero na-witness ko yung pagiging manyak ng radtech na yun. So, andun pa rin ata siya sa ospital na yun hanggang ngayon. Pero sana lang di na siya manyak. And then, ano pa, yung mga, minsan kasi yung mga radiation protection practices, Pag tumatagal ng isang radtech sa kanyang trabaho, nagiging complacent na siya. Nagiging too familiar siya sa ginagawa niya, or ang tawag doon is nagiging routinary. Nagiging routine na lang yung kanyang everyday na ginagawa. Nawawala yung kanyang pagiging excited, yung kanyang pagiging enthusiastic sa trabaho, na parang everyday ganito na naman, hubad po ng damit, hinga pong malalim. So parang ganun. So ayun, dahil sa pakiramdam niya routinary na lang ang buhay niya, yung ibang natutunan niya sa school, hindi niya na nai-apply. Ano yung madalas hindi na i-apply? Yung paggamit ng caliper. Tinuruan kayo kung paano gumamit ng caliper? Paano gumamit ng caliper?
Hindi ko po.
Hindi pa natuturo. Wala akong caliper dito. Pero yung caliper na pang x-ray, para siyang letter L, na pwede siya maging letter F. Basta, pangsukat siya ng body part na x-ray. Chest, hand, elbow, etc. So, bakit kailangan sukatin ang body part? Para makuha yung technical factor. What technical factor do we need to get kapag gumagamit tayo ng caliper? KBP. Paano natin kinukuha ang KBP? Okay? The size of the body part times 2 plus the machine constant. Let's say ang machine constant is 40. Okay, 40. Sinukat mo yung chest ng pasyente. Let's say ang pasyente ay sino ba yung mga kasipayat ko dyan? Si Mr. Tena, yan. Magkasikatawan lang kami. Yan, siguro ang mga sukat mo ay mga 12. So 12 siya. So 12 times 2, 24 plus 40. Ilan? 24 plus 40, para masyado mababa. So anyhow, kung yun yung factor, 24 plus 40, 64. So 64 kbp yung i-apply mo sa kanya, sa chest x-ray niya. Or let's say sa hand, ang hand ay lumabas is 2 inches. Ang taba naman ng kamay, 2 inches. So times 2, 4. Plus the machine constant na 40. So 44 kbp. Yan. Alam ko ano yan, i-discuss sa inyo yan sa film screen. Pero yung pagkuha ng MAS, alam nyo na. Di pa rin. Ayoko kasi pangunahan si Sir Clyde eh. Ayun. Pero MAS madali lang. MA times time. MAS. Yun lang yun. Okay, so going back, ang next na yung hierarchy of learning ni Robert Gagne. Okay. Si Robert Gagne ay pinanganak nung nakasulat dyan at namatay nung nakasulat dyan. Okay. So, siya ay isang American educational psychologist na mas nakilala siya dun sa kanyang theory na conditions of learning. Okay. So, for today, hindi natin i-discuss yung conditions of learning. Ang i-discuss natin is the hierarchy of learning. Kasi may pagkakasunod-sunod yung learning mula sa pinakamababa hanggang sa pinakamataas. Low level learning sa higher level learning. So yan, the hierarchy of learning theory. Okay. So ito yung hierarchy of learning ni Robert Gagne. So mag-umpisa siya sa signal learning, then followed by stimulus response, chaining, verbal association, discrimination learning, concept learning, rule learning, and then the highest is problem solving. Okay? So yan yung hierarchy. So signal learning, ay dyan papasok yung behaviorism. Okay? Either the classical conditioning, okay, or the operant conditioning. Kasi both the classical and operant conditioning have signals. Kaya nga siya tinawag na signal learning. Nagkakaroon ng learning due to certain response to stimulus. Diba? Yung signal, yun yung stimulus. Okay? Kapag nag-introduce ng stimulus, okay, so magkakaroon ng response. And the response will be the learning as a change in behavior. Okay? So ang first na discuss ng classical conditioning is si Pavlov. Okay? So the application of classical conditioning in facilitating human learnings are very limited kasi nga doon lang siya applicable sa low level learning. So kung makikita nyo nga, kaya nga siya yung pinaka ilalim. Kasi doon naman talaga nag-uumpisa lahat ng learning. Okay, kapag may stimulus, may response. Okay? Ganun din sa katawan natin, di ba? Kapag may stimulus, may body response tayo. Okay. So ganun din nung tayo ay nagto-toilet training. Diba? Paano tayo tinuruan sa toilet training? Kasi meron din tayong stimulus and response. Diba? So, lahat ng learning nag-uumpisa sa signal learning. Kapag may signal learning, of course, susunod na dyan yung stimulus response. Okay? So, ito na yung operant conditioning. Okay. Operant conditioning was originally developed by Skinner. So, dito magkakaroon ng positive and negative reinforcement. Ito ay carefully planned reinforcement. Okay. So, dyan papasok yung rewards and punishment or yung tinatawag sa ibang learner teachers na stick and carrot. Okay, stick and carrot. Okay, bakit stick and carrot? Ginamit nila ito sa donkey. So, paano mo mapapatakbo yung donkey? Either gumamit ka ng carrot or gumamit ka ng stick. Pag gumamit ka ng carrot, sabit mo yung carrot sa may harap ng donkey. So, hahabulin niya yung carrot. Or gumamit ka ng stick, papaluin mo yung donkey. So, yun yung carrot and stick. Okay. So, yun, equivalent siya sa rewards and punishment. So, ito ay programmed learning. Kasi nga merong carefully planned reinforcement. Okay. May stimulus, may response. Okay. Then after that, chaining na. This is a more advanced form of learning in which the subject develops the ability to connect two or more previously learned stimulus bands into a linked sequence. So it is a process whereby most complex psychomotor skills, example riding a bicycle or playing the piano, are learned. Okay. So dahil nagkaroon ng una repetition, signal learning, tapos nagkaroon ng stimulus response. So kapag dilink or kapag nandito na tayo sa stage ng chaining, from the word chaining, di ba, ililink together yung mga stimulus response na magkakaparehas or pwedeng related with each other. And therefore, magkakaroon ng learning doon sa isang specific na complex na bagay. Na ang binigay na example nga dito is riding a bicycle or playing a piano. Ayun. So, yan yung chaining. So, merong several stimulus response bands, tapos you link them together to be able to acquire a particular skill or knowledge. Then, you have that you are already in the stage of chaining. And after chaining is verbal association. Okay, so this is a form of chaining in which the links between the items being connected are verbal in nature. So verbal association is one of the key processes in development of language skills. Okay. So form of chaining, katulad ng sinabi natin, stimulus response, pero dito more on verbal in nature. Okay? Verbal in nature yung magko-connect. So mga more on language. So language development. Okay? And then after verbal association, merong tinatawag na discrimination learning. So this involves developing the ability to make appropriate responses to a series of similar stimuli that differ in a systematic way. So ang ibig lang sabihin dyan, yung mga natutunan natin due to the stimulus response, okay, kung hindi siya relevant sa learning growth natin, we will have the ability to unlearn them. Kapag nagkaroon tayo ng ability to unlearn them, so that is already in the stage of discrimination learning. Kasi hindi na natin siya i-move o dadalhin to the next level. Discrimination learning. Ibig sabihin, pipiliin lang natin kung ano yung ating gustong matutunan. So again, yan ay nasa mid-level na. Mid-level learning na yan. Okay? So the process is more complex and hence more difficult by the phenomenon of interference, whereby one piece of learning inhibits another. Interference is thought to be one of the main causes of forgetting. So another thing na nangyayari sa discrimination learning, dahil may natutunan tayong isang bagay, okay, that new learning na natutunan natin ay magi-interfere towards the growth ng ating pre-existing knowledge towards something that will cause for us to forget that particular something. Okay. So, halimbawa, ano ba maganda example? Okay. So, example, nung bata ka, kumakain ka ng lahat ng klase ng prutas. Okay. Halimbawa, hindi, ako na lang example. Nung bata ako, sabi, kumakain daw ako ng lahat ng prutas. Pero, ngayon na adult na ako, hindi ako kumakain ng papaya. Nasusuka ako sa papayang hinog. Amoy pa lang, na ano na ako, naduduwak na ako. Ganon. Grabe. Kaya wag kayong didikit sa akin pag amoy papaya kayo. So, what happened? Anong nangyari? So, probably, during the discrimination learning phase or stage, may nangyaring learning na hindi pala masarap na yung papaya. Siguro nakakain ako ng mas masarap na prutas na hindi ako matitrigger na either hindi ako matitrigger masuka or hindi siya sobrang lambot na alam mo yun or pwedeng yun nga mas masarap na prutas at dahil doon sa masarap na prutas na yun so probably palagay ko lang so yun lagi yung kinakain ko nakalimutan ko na kung anong lasa nung papaya nakalimutan ko na rin or hindi na rin pamilyar yung aking katawan sa amoy ng papaya. Kaya nung ako tumanda, nasusuka na ako sa papaya. Ayoko makaamoy, ayoko kumain ng papaya. Kahit pilitin pa ako, kahit isubo pa sa akin, never. Papaya hilaw pwede pa. Mga lawak sa gulay, mga gulay-gulay. Pero hinog, nakakasuka. Ayun. So, example natin ng discrimination learning. So next, okay. So unti-unti na tayong pumapasok sa high learning. Higher learning. Concept learning na tayo eh. Okay? So concept learning, this involves developing the ability to make a consistent response to different stimuli that form a common class or category of some sort. Okay, so it forms the basis of the ability to generalize and classify. Concept. Now, tututo na tayong bumuo ng concept. Diba? From chaining, verbal association, discrimination learning, and concept learning. So dahil dumana tayo doon sa discrimination learning, so ngayon, nagkakaroon na tayo ng sariling nating concept when it comes to the things around us. Okay, so you can treat the hierarchy of learning ni Gagne as from childhood to adulthood. Okay, so pwede nyo siyang itulad sa childhood to adulthood natin. Okay? Kumbaga sa concept learning, natututo na tayong gumawa ng sentences. Or kung hindi man sentences, at least phrases. Okay, next is rule learning. So this is a very high-level cognitive process that involves being able to learn relationships between concepts and apply these relationships in different situations, including situations not previously encountered. It forms the basis of the learning of general rules and procedures. Kaya siya rule learning. So, ito ay isang step higher than the uh, concept learning. At dito, okay, so dito, itong rule learning na to, pinagdaanan nyo na to. Diba? Ilang years na kayo na sumusunod sa mga rules and regulations, not only sa rules and regulations sa classroom or sa outside world, pati rin sa mga classes. Let's say, yung kung may mga laboratories kayo, di ba? There are certain rules to follow and in this mga step, kahit yung mga step-by-step processes, okay? So it forms the rule learning. So you have your own way na rin of reviewing things. Diba? May sarili kayong way ng pagre-review, alin yung uunahin nyo, okay, alin yung iuhuli nyo kapag nagre-review kayo. So that is part of rule learning. Okay. And lastly, problem solving. The highest level of cognitive process according to Robert Gagne. Okay, involves the developing of the ability to invent a complex rule, a logarithm, or procedure for the purpose of solving one particular problem. And then using the same method, okay, to solve other problems of similar nature. So dito, mayroon ka ng capability to formulate your own way, your own technique, your own methods in order to solve a particular problem. At kapag napatunayan mo na effective itong method na to, okay, you will be able to use that on similar problems. Sa kahalintulad ng mga situation in the future. And that is according to Robert Gagne. The highest daw ay problem solving. Okay? So do you have any questions? Kasi that is the last stage or phase in Robert Gagne's hierarchy of learning. Sa tingin nyo, nasa stage na kayo dyan? Signal? Signal learning ba? Yung tipong ano yun? Every time na may papagawa si teacher, kailangan itulak? Or signal learning yung pinipihit ang likod na laruan? Or nasa discrimination learning ba kayo? Rule learning? Or problem solving? Yung iba sa inyo siguro nasa problem solving na, no? Very evident naman habang nagkaklase tayo kanina sa 204. Diba? Pigang-piga na yung utak natin kanina. Ayan. Next time, magkakaroon ng debate. Tingnan natin kung paano kayo makipag-debate. Proper debate tayo, walang ad hominem. Okay, so questions. Buy one, take one, dali. Okay, so ayan. Ayan uli yung ating illustration ng hierarchy of learning ni Robert Gagne. So dito, signal, learning, stimulus, tapos chaining. Okay? Then verbal association, dito, and discrimination learning. Tapos, itong mga to may kinalaman na sa concept learning until problem solving. Okay? Questions? Part 3, discussion on Thursday. Thursday pala ngayon. Okay, so that ends our lesson for today. So,